Since the dawn of humanity, the number 12 has always carried a special mystery. From the cycle of months to the Zodiac and the apostles chosen by Jesus, it seems that this number transcends mere mathematics and becomes a key to understanding the cosmos. But what does it truly symbolize? And more importantly, could there be a link between the 12 disciples of Christ and the 12 astrological signs? This is not a new question, but the fascination with this possible connection remains alive, especially for those seeking answers in spirituality and universal teachings. Let's imagine for a moment that Jesus, in choosing his disciples, was not just gathering followers, but rather creating a perfect circle of archetypes. Each one of them, with their virtues and flaws, would symbolize fundamental aspects of the human experience and even cosmic energies reflected in the Zodiac. This possibility invites us to explore a connection that could go beyond what is recorded in the sacred texts. If we stop to observe, astrology itself tells us that the 12 signs represent unique but complementary facets of human behavior. Some are leaders and pioneers, others are guided by emotion or seek balance between the material and the spiritual. Interestingly, the disciples also fit these molds. Peter, for example, is a born leader, while John is driven by love, and Thomas is the one who incessantly questions. Would it be a coincidence, or could there be something deeper at play? The number 12 appears repeatedly in the Bible and in various spiritual traditions. In addition to the disciples and the signs, we have the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 months of the year, and even the 12 gates of the New Jerusalem described in Revelation. In all these manifestations, the number seems to indicate totality, balance, and a connection with the divine. This raises an intriguing question. Were the disciples chosen to reflect this cosmic harmony and guide human beings towards a state of completeness? It's no coincidence that many mystical traditions consider Jesus not just a master of his time, but of all time. His teachings not only inspire but also challenge the intellect and spirit. And if he, as many believe, had knowledge of the universe's mysteries, including astrology, certainly he could have integrated this knowledge into the selection of his apostles, ensuring that each of them represented an essential aspect of the human and spiritual journey. Furthermore, the concept of archetypes, widely popularized by psychologist Carl Jung, helps us understand how certain figures can represent universal patterns of behavior. These archetypes appear in myths, legends, and even in astrology, where each sign embodies a unique energy. Could it be possible, then, that Jesus chose his disciples to reflect these archetypes, transforming his message into something truly timeless and universal? As we delve into this investigation, we realize that the 12 astrological signs are not merely personality categories, but rather expressions of cosmic energies that shape our existence. And the disciples, with their distinct characteristics, may have been chosen to channel these energies in a way that complements Jesus' teachings. For instance, Peter, with his determination and impulsiveness, reminds us of the bold spirit of Aries. Meanwhile, John, known for his connection with divine love, aligns with the passion and generosity of Leo. This view invites us to see the teachings of Jesus from a new perspective. Instead of limiting his message to history or theology, we can expand it to include a connection with the cosmos. This does not diminish the depth of his teachings. On the contrary, it broadens their scope, showing that Jesus' lessons engage with the mysteries of the universe and touch on universal truths. However, it's important to underline that this connection doesn't aim to replace faith, but rather complement it. The parallel between the disciples and the zodiac signs provides a bridge between spirituality and self-awareness. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger, a universe that pulses with energy, and that the teachings of Jesus not only guide us, but also reflect the cosmic order. And it is precisely this expanded perspective that we will explore throughout this video. We will delve deeply into the stories of the disciples, unravel the energies of the signs, and draw the parallels that reveal a surprising harmony between the teachings of Jesus and the cosmos. After all, if the 12 disciples and the 12 signs are reflections of universal archetypes, what does this teach us about our own spiritual journey? Following this path, we will discover that the answers may not only be in the stars, but also within you. The 12 disciples of Jesus are not just historical figures, but representations of timeless human characteristics. Each one of them reflects virtues, weaknesses, and challenges that resonate deeply with our spiritual and emotional journey. When analyzed symbolically, they transcend their individual stories, becoming archetypes that we can identify in ourselves and others. Just like the Zodiac signs, the disciples seem to encapsulate fundamental aspects of the human experience. Pedro, the impulsive leader, symbolizes courage, but also impulsiveness and the need for balance between action and reflection. He is the archetype of the pioneer, the one who takes the lead even without all the answers, trusting in intuition and faith. In contrast, we have John, the beloved disciple, who embodies the archetype of the heart. He is the lover of truth, guided by love and spiritual connection. These two archetypes, seemingly opposed, show us how different energies complement each other on the path to enlightenment. Each disciple also represents a specific aspect of the spiritual journey. Matthew, for example, symbolizes the integration between the material and the divine. As a tax collector, he was deeply rooted in the material world, but was called to transform this connection into service to spirituality. Similarly, Thomas, often remembered for his doubt, embodies the search for deeper answers and the need to experience truth for himself. He is the archetype of the seeker, always questioning and exploring. These archetypes are not just stories from the past, but patterns that continue to influence our lives. For example, Judas, often seen as the betrayer, can be understood as the archetype of the shadow. He represents the part of us that struggles with temptation, betrayal, and guilt, but also the possibility of transformation and redemption. This perspective helps us to see Judas not just as a villain, but as a reflection of the internal battles we all face. As we delve deeper into this analysis, we realize that these archetypes are also interconnected, creating a circle of balance. Each disciple plays a unique role, but their true strength lies in collaboration and interdependence. This reflects human nature itself, where different aspects of our personality need to work in harmony to achieve balance. This is where we see the connection with astrological signs, which also represent complementary and interconnected energies. The connection between the disciples and the archetypes goes beyond individual personalities. They also symbolize stages and challenges we face in our own journey. Peter, for example, represents the beginning of the journey, while Thomas reminds us of the importance of questioning and seeking the truth. Judas teaches us about the need to confront our shadows, and John shows us the transformative power of love. These universal patterns not only enrich our understanding of the disciples, but also help us understand ourselves. When we look at the 12 disciples from this perspective, we realize that they form a complete circle, just like the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Each one of them reflects a facet of the human being, and together, they symbolize the totality of the human experience. This view invites us to see the Bible not just as a historical record, but as a guide to self-knowledge and spirituality. Furthermore, the archetypes of the disciples remind us that the spiritual journey is not linear, but cyclical. We go through different phases, sometimes led by faith, other times by doubt or love. Each of these moments is necessary for our growth and evolution. Just as the Zodiac signs help us understand our characteristics and challenges, the disciples offer us a mirror to reflect on our own lives. This perspective also highlights the universality of Jesus' teachings. By choosing 12 disciples with such distinct personalities, he seems to be telling us that there is not a single path to spirituality. Each one of us can find our own way to connect with the divine, utilizing our talents and facing our challenges. This message is especially relevant in a world where we are constantly seeking unity in diversity. Therefore, the disciples are not only historical figures, but living symbols that continue to guide us. They show us that the spiritual journey is made of ups and downs, of light and shadow, and that we all have a unique role to play in the great circle of life. As we explore this connection with the archetypes, we begin to see ourselves and the cosmos in a completely new way. Astrology, often seen as a tool for self-awareness and connection with the cosmos, has been an essential part of humanity's spiritual journey for thousands of years. From the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia to the mystical traditions of India and Greece, the stars have been used as guides to understand the mysteries of the universe and the cycles of life. As we explore the parallel between the 12 disciples and the 12 signs, it is crucial to understand the role of astrology as a symbolic language that transcends cultures and times. At the core of astrology is the idea that celestial bodies influence life on Earth, not only in a physical way, but also energetically and spiritually. The 12 signs of the Zodiac represent universal archetypes, reflecting traits, energies, and behavior patterns that are common to all human beings. These signs, organized in a circle, symbolize the totality of human experience, just as the disciples, together, reflect the completeness of Jesus' spiritual teachings. Historically, astrology has always been closely linked to spirituality. In Babylon, the priests were also astrologers, interpreting the skies to predict events and guide important decisions. Similarly, in ancient Egypt, the movements of the stars were associated with the gods and cosmic forces. These systems not only sought to understand the physical world, but also brought insights about human nature and its place in the cosmos. In the biblical context, the number 12 appears repeatedly, suggesting a connection with celestial cycles. Beyond the 12 disciples, we have the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 months of the year, and even the 12 gates of the heavenly Jerusalem. This repetition does not seem to be mere coincidence. In many spiritual traditions, the number 12 symbolizes completeness, harmony, and the interconnection between the divine and the earthly. In this sense, Jesus choosing 12 disciples could be interpreted as a reflection of this cosmic harmony. Astrology also has a deep connection with natural cycles, such as the seasons of the year and the movements of the sun and the moon. Each zodiac sign is associated with a phase of the year, representing a specific energy that manifests in nature and human life. For example, Aries, as the first sign, marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere, symbolizing new beginnings and creative drive. This cycle of beginning, growth, maturation, and conclusion resonates with the spiritual journeys described in the sacred scriptures. Although often seen as separate from Christian traditions, astrology has played a significant role in the culture of the Middle East and the Mediterranean, where Christianity emerged. The Magi who visited Jesus at his birth, guided by the Star of Bethlehem, are a clear example of this intersection. These Magi, likely Zoroastrian astrologers, used their knowledge of the heavens to recognize the moment of cosmic significance in Christ's birth. This event highlights how astrology was integrated into the spiritual understandings of the time. Furthermore, astrology serves as a bridge between the microcosm and the macrocosm, linking the individual to the universe. In a spiritual perspective, the human being is a reflection of the cosmos, and the movements of the stars are mirrored in our lives. This connection is essential to understand how disciples, as archetypes, can represent cosmic energies manifested on Earth. Just as each zodiac sign has a unique role in balancing the zodiac, each disciple plays an essential function in Jesus' universal message. Astrological archetypes also help illuminate aspects of human personality that can be enhanced or balanced. For example, the sign of Taurus is associated with stability and the pursuit of material comfort, but also with the challenge of avoiding excessive attachment. This duality reflects Matthew's journey, who left his materialistic life as a tax collector to follow a higher spiritual calling. This connection between signs and archetypes invites us to explore how the disciples' lessons can help us find balance in our own lives. Astrological symbolism is also useful in understanding the interconnection between Jesus' teachings and the cosmic order. Each zodiac sign is associated with an element: fire, earth, air, or water, which represents different aspects of existence. Similarly, Jesus' disciples can be seen as bearers of different energies that, together, create a dynamic balance. This harmony is not only a spiritual message, but also a reminder that the diversity of experiences and personalities is essential for completeness. In exploring these connections, we realize that astrology and the teachings of Jesus are not contradictory, but complementary. Both recognize the presence of universal patterns that can guide us in our quest for self-knowledge and spiritual connection. Astrology teaches us that we are influenced by the cosmos, while Jesus' teachings show us how to transcend these influences to achieve a greater purpose. Finally, the role of astrology as a symbolic system helps us interpret the disciples in a deeper way. It offers us a new lens to understand how Jesus' teachings can be applied to our modern life, connecting us to the cosmic cycles that govern existence. This perspective reminds us that just as the stars follow their cycles in the sky, our spiritual journey is also cyclical and constantly evolving. Pedro, one of the most prominent characters in the Gospels, is often described as impulsive, courageous, and full of initiative. These traits make him a fascinating parallel to the sign of Aries, the first in the zodiac and often associated with leadership, energy, and pioneering. If we explore this connection, we will see how Pedro embodies not only the archetype of the leader, but also the spirit of the beginning of a spiritual journey. Aries, ruled by the planet Mars, is known for its willpower and courage in facing challenges. These attributes are reflected in Peter, whose audacious personality is evident from his first encounters with Jesus. When called to abandon his nets and follow the Master, Peter does not hesitate. He leaves everything, family, job, and stability, to venture into an unknown path. This brave decision is a direct reflection of the Aryan energy, which values the impulse to act and faith in the unknown. However, just like Aries, Pedro is not free from flaws. His impulsive nature leads him to act before thinking, like when he tried to walk on water towards Jesus. At first, he trusts completely, but upon noticing the strong wind, he doubts and begins to sink. This moment encapsulates the duality of Aries, the courage to start something grand, but the vulnerability in the face of doubt and lack of planning. The lesson here is not about failure, but about learning. Pedro demonstrates that spiritual growth requires confronting fears and overcoming weaknesses. Another clear example of the connection between Peter and Aries is his reaction during Jesus' arrest. In a moment of tension, Peter draws his sword and cuts off the ear of one of the soldiers who came to arrest the Master. This impulsive act reveals the warrior spirit of Aries, always ready to protect what they consider sacred. However, Jesus rebukes Peter, showing him that true strength lies in serenity and love, not in violence. This scene is emblematic of Aries' journey towards balance, learning to channel their energy in a constructive way. Pedro also symbolizes the beginning of the spiritual journey, just as Aries marks the beginning of the Zodiac cycle. He is the first to recognize Jesus as the Messiah, declaring, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." This statement is a pivotal moment in the Gospels, as it demonstrates Pedro's unwavering faith and his role as the rock on which the church would be built. The Aryan energy, with its focus on new beginnings, is deeply intertwined in this statement, which lays the foundation for the spread of Jesus' teachings. However, Pedro's journey is not linear, and this makes him even more human and relatable. Even after demonstrating great faith, He also experiences moments of weakness, such as when he denies Jesus 3 times before the crucifixion. This episode highlights the internal struggle of Aries, who can sometimes be dominated by fear or impulsiveness. However, it is important to note that Pedro finds redemption and reaffirms his commitment to Jesus after the resurrection, demonstrating the Aryan ability to rise again after adversities. The connection between Pedro and Aries can also be seen in his role as the leader of the disciples. He is the one who often takes the initiative, asks questions, and acts as the spokesperson for the group. This position reflects the leadership and pioneering energy of Aries, who is not afraid to blaze new trails. After the ascension of Jesus, Pedro takes on the responsibility of preaching the gospel, facing persecutions and challenges with determination and courage. This willingness to lead even in the face of danger is a striking characteristic of Aries. Furthermore, Pedro's transformation throughout the Gospels is a testament to the spiritual evolution journey that Aries symbolizes. He starts as a common fisherman, full of human flaws, but becomes a pillar of the Christian faith. This transformation reflects Aries' ability to grow and mature, turning their raw energy into a refined and directed power. Pedro teaches us that initial courage is just the beginning. True growth comes from facing our inner challenges and finding balance. Pedro also exemplifies the passion of Aries, which is driven by a deep sense of purpose. He is fervent in his faith and often acts with great intensity, whether in his statements or his actions. This passion, when properly channeled, becomes a powerful force for good. Pedro's story reminds us that passion and energy, when combined with wisdom and love, can create transformative changes in the world. Pedro's Aries energy is not only inspiring but also deeply instructive. It teaches us that the start of any journey requires courage, even in the face of the unknown. It also reminds us that failures are not the end, but part of the growth process. Pedro, as an Aries, is a symbol of renewal, showing that we can always start anew, regardless of past mistakes. Finally, Pedro invites us to reflect on the role of courage and drive in our own spiritual journey. Just like Aries, he challenges us to act with faith, even when we don't have all the answers. His story is a reminder that, as we embark on our own spiritual journey, we can find strength and inspiration to face any obstacle. The spiritual journey of Jesus' disciples is deeply intertwined with themes of light and shadow, love and betrayal, redemption and transformation. These aspects are symbolically represented by 2 of the most emblematic disciples, John and Judas. When connected to the Zodiac signs, John strongly resonates with Leo, radiating love and creative energy, while Judas aligns with the Scorpio archetype, steeped in mystery, internal conflict, and transformation. Together, they represent the poles of light and shadow, fundamental to the balance of existence. John, the beloved disciple, is often described as the embodiment of love and devotion. He was always close to Jesus, present at the most important moments, including the Last Supper and the crucifixion. The energy of Leo, ruled by the sun, reflects these characteristics of John. Leo is the sign of the heart, associated with generosity, passion, and leadership by example. Just as the sun is the center of the solar system, John holds a central position in the circle of disciples, radiating warmth and emotional connection. John's devotion is exemplified by his spiritual closeness to Jesus. He is the only disciple who remains at the foot of the cross during the crucifixion, symbolizing unwavering loyalty and emotional courage. This quality of unconditional love is an essential characteristic of Leo, who seeks to nurture and protect those he loves. John is also known for his writings in the Gospel and Revelation, which convey messages of light, hope, and revelation, resonating with Leo's creative expression. However, just as Leo can be overshadowed by pride or the desire for recognition, John reminds us that even light needs to be balanced by humility. His relationship with Jesus was not based on hierarchy, but on a deep spiritual understanding. He did not lead with force but with love, showing that true Leo leadership comes from the heart, not the ego. This lesson is an invitation for all of us to lead with compassion and create from our most authentic essence. On the other hand, Judas is a figure shrouded in mystery and contradiction, making him a powerful parallel to the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, a planet associated with transformation, death, and rebirth. These energies are deeply intertwined in the narrative of Judas, whose betrayal led to the crucifixion and, subsequently, the resurrection of Jesus. Scorpio deals with the dark aspects of existence, confronting the secrets, pains, and truths that we often avoid. Judas's decision to betray Jesus is an act that reflects the internal conflicts and complexities of human nature. Scorpio is known for its intimate relationship with power, and Judas, in accepting the 30 pieces of silver, seems motivated by a blend of ambition and despair. However, his betrayal also serves as a catalyst for Jesus' final transformation, fulfilling the divine purpose. This duality encapsulates the Scorpio archetype, light and shadow coexisting in an inevitable dance of growth and change. Furthermore, Scorpio is also associated with the idea of redemption and resurrection. Although Judas is often remembered for his betrayal, his story does not end there. He experiences deep remorse, acknowledging the weight of his actions. This remorse, although tragic, is an expression of Scorpio's energy, which seeks to face the depths of the soul to achieve transformation. Judas teaches us that even the most serious mistakes have the potential to guide us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and our purpose. The relationship between John and Judas, Leo and Scorpio, is a powerful reflection of the opposing poles that govern the universe. John is the symbol of light, radiating love and spiritual connection, while Judas represents the shadow, confronting the harshest and most painful truths. This duality is essential for balance. Without shadow, there is no understanding of light. Without light, the shadow becomes overwhelming. Together, they demonstrate that both the bright and dark aspects of life are necessary for spiritual evolution. When we look at these archetypes, we realize that both John and Judas have something to teach us. John invites us to embrace love and lead with the heart, while Judas challenges us to confront our shadows and seek transformation. This integration of light and shadow is an ongoing process, requiring courage, honesty, and a commitment to growth. This dynamic also reflects the complementary energies of Leo and Scorpio in the Zodiac. Leo shines outwardly, while Scorpio works in the depths. Leo is the symbol of creation, and Scorpio of regeneration. Together they form a complete cycle, reminding us that life is made of ups and downs, light and darkness, and that both are necessary for balance. Finally, John and Judas offer us valuable lessons for our own journey. They show us that the spiritual path is not linear, but a dance between light and shadow, love and pain, growth and redemption. They remind us that by integrating these polarities, we can transform and connect with something greater. Through John and Judas, we find the courage to love and the strength to face the hardest truth. Matthew, the tax collector who became a disciple of Jesus, is an intriguing figure in the biblical narrative. His transformation from someone deeply involved with the material world into a committed follower of the spiritual realm exemplifies a journey of balance between two dimensions of existence. When associated with the sign of Taurus, Matthew reflects qualities such as stability, patience, appreciation for the material, and a constant pursuit of harmony. This connection symbolizes how we can integrate the blessings of the physical world with the higher calls of the soul. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is a sign that values beauty, security, and material abundance. Matthew, before following Jesus, lived a comfortable life as a tax collector, a position that, although socially despised, offered financial security and status. This connection with the material world is a characteristic of Taurus which seeks to create solid foundations and prosperity. However, Matthew's transformation shows that the true purpose is not just in the accumulation of wealth, but in how we use these resources for something greater. The call of Matthew by Jesus is a moment that perfectly exemplifies this transition. When Jesus approaches him, Matthew is sitting at his tax booth, performing his daily work. The invitation to follow me is simple, yet profound. Matthew leaves everything behind, wealth, position, and security, and chooses a life of service. This decision reflects not only courage, but also the Taurus energy in its highest aspect, the ability to detach from the material in favor of something spiritually more significant. This transformation of Matthew does not mean rejecting the material, but redirecting his relationship with it. Taurus, in its essence, teaches about the value of prosperity when it is used in a balanced and harmonious way. Matthew continues to play an important role in the practical administration of the group of disciples, showing that the skills he acquired as a tax collector now serve a divine purpose. This reorientation is a reminder that material resources are not bad in themselves, but should be used consciously. The writings attributed to Matthew also reflect this quest for balance. His gospel is methodically structured, almost practical, showcasing an organized mind attentive to details. This approach reflects the energy of Taurus, which values stability and consistency. Matthew writes in a way that emphasizes Jesus' teachings on how to live in the world without being consumed by it, promoting balance between material demands and spiritual callings. Furthermore, Taurus is known for its patience and its connection with the intrinsic value of things. This can be seen in the way Matthew likely processed his decision to follow Jesus. He was not impulsive like Peter, but his choice was firm and enduring. This constancy is a striking characteristic of Taurus, who prefers to build something solid over time rather than seeking immediate results. Matthew teaches us that the most significant transformations often happen in a deliberate and sustained manner. Another important aspect of Taurus is their appreciation for beauty and creation. This is reflected in Matthew's role as an evangelist, as his texts bring to light the beauty of Jesus' teachings and make them accessible to others. Just as Taurus values art and harmony, Matthew seems to have found his creative expression in documenting the words and actions of Jesus, creating something that would resonate for generations. Matthew's relationship with Taurus also invites us to reflect on our own lives. How do we balance our material needs with our spiritual goals? Are we using our resources in a way that honors both our well-being and our greater purpose? Matthew reminds us that money and possessions don't have to be obstacles to spirituality. On the contrary, they can be powerful tools when used with wisdom and intention. However, Matthias's journey also warns us about the dangers of excessive attachment to material things. Before following Jesus, his position as a tax collector probably isolated him from his community, creating a wall between him and the people around him. This disconnection is a risk associated with Taurus when the pursuit of material security becomes the sole priority. Matthias teaches us that true value lies in building bridges, not walls, and in using resources to promote connection and service. In the end, Matthias's transformation is a powerful reminder that we don't need to reject the physical world to be spiritual. Taurus, in its highest aspect, teaches us to value the abundance that surrounds us while remaining steadfast in our greater purpose. Matthias exemplifies how we can harmonize these energies, living with gratitude and purpose in both realms. Finally, the story of Matthias encourages us to look at our own lives and reconsider our relationship with prosperity. Are we using our gifts and resources to create something meaningful? Are we connecting with the divine in our daily actions? Matthias and Taurus show us that the journey to balance is a path of transformation, where we can find beauty and purpose in both the material and the spiritual. Among the disciples of Jesus, Thomas holds a unique and deeply human place. Known as the doubting disciple, he symbolizes an unceasing search for authentic answers and a faith that transcends blind acceptance. This journey from doubt to belief echoes the energy of the Sagittarius sign. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is the sign of the seeker, the philosopher, the one who explores the mysteries of existence with curiosity and a desire for truth. Just as Sagittarius traverses vast horizons to find meaning, Thomas teaches us that questioning is not an obstacle to spirituality, but a path towards it. Thomas' journey begins with his reluctance to accept the resurrection of Jesus. When the other disciples tell him they have seen the resurrected Master, he responds, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and my hand into his side, I will not believe." This statement reflects the essence of Sagittarius, who is not satisfied with superficial answers. For Sagittarius, true faith must be grounded in personal experience and understanding. This quest for authenticity also resonates with the archetype of the archer, symbol of Sagittarius, who always aims towards the horizon in search of new territories and knowledge. Thomas does not accept the resurrection simply because others said it was true. He wants to experience reality for himself. This does not make him less spiritual, but rather a powerful example of how doubt can be a driving force for a deeper faith. When Jesus finally appears to Thomas, allowing him to touch his wounds, Thomas's response is immediate and transformative. "My Lord and my God." This moment symbolizes the typical journey of Sagittarius, where the constant search for answers culminates in an understanding that transcends intellect. Thomas's faith, previously conditioned by the need for proof, becomes an act of complete surrender to the truth he now experiences firsthand. Sagittarius is a sign associated with expansion, both physical and mental. Similarly, Thomas becomes one of the disciples who ventures beyond the boundaries of the known. According to traditions, he traveled to regions such as India, bringing the message of Jesus to distant places. This geographical expansion is a direct reflection of Sagittarian energy, which seeks to explore new cultures, philosophies, and territories to share wisdom and learn from different perspectives. Furthermore, Sagittarius is associated with philosophy and the exploration of profound ideas. Thomas, in his initial doubt, does not reject spirituality, but seeks to understand it more fully. This philosophical quality is essential for spiritual development, as it encourages us to ask tough questions and challenge limiting beliefs. Just as Sagittarius values the journey more than the destination, Thomas demonstrates that spirituality is a continuous process of learning and discovery. The relationship between Thomas and Sagittarius also reflects the duality of this sign. Sagittarius can, at times, be skeptical or overly critical, focusing more on the questions than on the answers. However, when balanced, this sign transforms its doubt into a powerful tool for growth. Thomas exemplifies this transformation by overcoming his need for physical proof and embracing an unwavering faith, showing that doubt can be a catalyst for a deeper spiritual connection. Another important aspect of Sagittarius is their optimism and enthusiasm for life. Although Thomas is often remembered for his doubt, his willingness to follow Jesus and venture into unknown lands reflects an innate trust in the larger purpose of his mission. He demonstrates that even those who question can have an inner strength that propels them to move forward into the unknown with courage and determination. Furthermore, the story of Thomas teaches us that doubt is not the opposite of faith, but an integral part of it. Just as Sagittarius seeks to expand its horizons and achieve a broader view, Thomas shows us that true faith is not a passive acceptance, but an active commitment to explore, question, and experience. His journey is a reminder that spirituality does not need to be perfect or linear. It can be complex, dynamic, and deeply personal. Thomas also reflects the wisdom of Sagittarius by showing that the deepest spiritual answers often come when we are willing to confront our uncertainties. His journey from doubt to belief is a testament that authentic faith is one that has withstood the test of questioning. Rather than weakening his spirituality, Thomas's doubt strengthened it, making him an example of resilience and pursuit of truth. Finally, the connection between Thomas and Sagittarius invites us to reflect on our own spiritual journey. Are we willing to ask tough questions and seek genuine answers? Do we have the courage to explore new horizons, both internally and externally? Thomas teaches us that it's okay to have doubts. The key is to use these doubts as fuel to grow and connect with something greater. With their story, Tomei and Sagittarius remind us that the journey of faith is an adventure, full of challenges and discoveries. And, like the archer who aims at the stars, we are called to seek higher truths, trusting that in the end, we will find what we are looking for. The idea that the 12 disciples of Jesus and the 12 zodiac signs form a perfect circle is not only intriguing but also deeply symbolic. This connection not only reflects a balance between spiritual archetypes and cosmic energies, but also invites us to contemplate the totality of the universe and the human experience. Just as the signs represent different facets of personality and universal forces, the disciples personify aspects of the spiritual journey that together complete a harmonious cycle. The number 12 itself is already laden with spiritual and symbolic meaning. It represents totality, harmony, and the cosmos. It appears in the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 months of the year, and even in the 12 petals of the lotus flower, a spiritual symbol in many cultures. This number connects the natural cycles of the earth with the spiritual cycles that govern the human soul. By choosing 12 disciples, Jesus seems to have formed a microcosm of this universal totality, a wheel that reflects the integration of different archetypes and energies. The zodiac signs, organized in a circle, also symbolize this completeness. Each sign is unique, but it does not function in isolation. Its energy complements and balances with the others. Similarly, Jesus' disciples, with their distinct personalities, virtues, and flaws, represent different aspects of the human being, creating together a spiritual circle. This integration reflects the idea that no spiritual journey is complete without the union of light, shadow, doubt, faith, love, and transformation. Each zodiac sign is associated with an element: fire, earth, air, or water. These elements represent fundamental forces of nature and essential aspects of human experience. Fire is energy and passion. Earth is stability and nourishment. Air is intellect and communication. And water is emotion and intuition. Similarly, the disciples can be seen as bearers of different spiritual elements that together balance and strengthen the message of Jesus. For example, Pedro, associated with Aries, brings the energy of fire with his courage and leadership. Matthew, connected to Taurus, reflects the stability of earth and the connection with the material world. Thomas, with his philosophical quest and incessant questioning, carries the intellect of the air element, while John, with his devotion and unconditional love, symbolizes the emotional depth of water. Each disciple, like each sign, is unique in its essence, but it is in the interaction between them that we find balance and wholeness. This harmony is also evident in the way the disciples interact with each other and with Jesus. Their different personalities create a rich dynamic where challenges and learnings constantly emerge. Judas, for example, represents the necessary shadow for the light to shine more intensely. John, on the other hand, is the light that inspires and guides. This interaction between opposite poles is essential for the balance of the circle, just as in the zodiac, where opposite signs complement and challenge each other. The circle formed by the disciples and the signs also symbolizes the cyclical journey of life and spirituality. Just as the zodiac begins with Aries, the sign of the beginning, and ends with Pisces, the sign of transcendence, the journey of the disciples begins with the call of Jesus and culminates in his resurrection and ascension. This cycle reminds us that the spiritual journey is not linear, but a continuous movement of learning, growth, and renewal. Furthermore, the circle reflects the interconnection between the cosmos and spirituality. The zodiac signs connect us to the physical universe, while the disciples connect us to the spiritual realm. Together they show us that these dimensions are not separated, but intertwined. Just as the stars influence our lives, the spiritual lessons from the disciples help us navigate the challenges and opportunities we face. The idea of a perfect circle also reminds us of unity in diversity. Each sign and each disciple is unique, but their true strength lies in collaboration and interdependence. This vision is an invitation for us to reflect on our own lives. Are we recognizing and integrating all aspects of who we are? Are we balancing our light and shadow, our reason and emotion? The circle of disciples and signs inspires us to seek this harmony within ourselves. Furthermore, the circle represents an endless cycle, an eternal return. Just like the seasons of the year and lunar cycles, the spiritual journey does not have an end point. There is always more to learn, more to grow, and more to explore. Disciples, like the signs, show us that each phase of life brings its own challenges and blessings, and that each stage is a step towards wholeness. Finally, the idea that the 12 disciples and the 12 signs form a perfect circle invites us to see spirituality as something universal. It doesn't matter where we come from or which traditions we follow. We are all part of a great cosmic and spiritual cycle. The disciples connect us to earth and to Jesus' message, while the signs connect us to the sky and the cosmos. Together, they create a map for the soul's journey, showing us that harmony is within our reach. The 12 disciples of Jesus and the 12 signs of the Zodiac are more than historical figures or astrological symbols. Together, they form a mirror for the human spiritual journey. They represent universal archetypes that, when integrated, help us understand our connection with the cosmos, the divine, and ourselves. This integration is the key to unraveling the entirety of who we are, as each disciple and each sign reflects essential aspects of our existence. The spiritual journey begins with the acknowledgement that each of us carries within ourselves the same archetypes represented by the disciples. Peter, with his courage and impulsiveness, teaches us about the power of leadership and the challenges of balancing faith and doubt. John shows us the path of unconditional love, while Judas confronts us with the necessary shadow for transformation. Just like the zodiac signs, these archetypes are always present, guiding our actions and shaping our choices. The integration of these archetypes is an invitation to harmonize the different aspects of our personality. The energy of Taurus, reflected in Matthew, reminds us of the importance of valuing the material world without clinging to it. On the other hand, the curiosity of Sagittarius, present in Thomas, inspires us to seek answers and question, even when the truth seems hard to reach. Each disciple, just like each sign, offers a piece of the puzzle that composes our spiritual identity. This journey of integration is also a dance between light and shadow. The disciples and the signs teach us that true fulfillment does not come from avoiding our shadows, but from embracing them. Judas, associated with Scorpio, represents the moments of pain and regret that, although difficult, are necessary for growth. John, as Leo, illuminates the path, showing that love and compassion are powerful forces to overcome challenges. Light and shadow together form the dynamic balance that propels us forward. The perfect circle formed by the disciples and the signs reminds us that the spiritual journey is not isolated, but interconnected. Each archetype complements and challenges the others, creating a balance that is essential for the whole. Just as the zodiac signs support each other, the disciples work together to convey Jesus' message. This interdependence reflects the very nature of life. We are all parts of a larger whole, connected by common energies and purposes. Furthermore, the spiritual journey of the disciples teaches us that evolution is continuous. Peter, for example, starts as an impulsive leader, but transforms into a pillar of Christian faith. Thomas, who initially doubts, finds unwavering belief. Judas, although marked by betrayal, symbolizes the possibility of redemption and learning even in the darkest moments. These cycles of growth and transformation reflect the constant movements of the cosmos, where nothing remains static. Another fundamental aspect of this integration is the balance between the individual and the collective. The zodiac signs remind us that each person has unique characteristics, but is part of a larger system. Similarly, disciples are individuals with distinct personalities, but together, they form the spiritual circle that supports and amplifies Jesus' message. This invites us to recognize both our uniqueness and our connection with others. The journey of the disciples also offers us practical lessons for our daily life. They show us that the spiritual path is not about perfection, but about progress. They all faced challenges, made mistakes, and learned from their experiences. This humanity encourages us to be kind to ourselves in our own journey, remembering that spiritual evolution is a process full of ups and downs. The parallel with the zodiac signs also invites us to explore our relationship with the cosmos. Just like the disciples reflect spiritual archetypes, the signs connect us to the cosmic forces that shape our lives. By understanding these connections, we can align our actions and intentions with the natural cycles of the universe, finding harmony in our journey. This integration between the spiritual and the cosmic helps us to live in a more conscious and balanced way. Finally, the connection between the disciples and the signs reminds us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. The message of Jesus, amplified by the disciples, and the universal patterns of the zodiac signs show us that spirituality is not just about the individual, but about the collective. It is an invitation to find our place in the great circle of life, where every action and intention contributes to the balance of the whole. We conclude, then, that the integration of the disciples' archetypes and the signs is a journey of self-discovery, balance, and connection. They teach us that we are all parts of a larger circle, where light and shadow, spirituality and cosmos, individual and collective work together to create harmony. This journey not only transforms us, but also inspires us to live with more purpose, love, and understanding. And now, Mind Unfettered, I want to know from you, which of the disciples or archetypes most resonated with your own journey? Do you identify more with Peter, full of courage, or with Thomas, the seeker of answers? Leave your perspective in the comments. Remember, your participation is not just an exchange of ideas, but also a powerful way for us to manifest together a community connected to spiritual growth. Each of your comments is a seed of inspiration that can transform lives here in our Mind Unfettered family. And the journey doesn't stop here. On the screen now, you will see our next video, The Kabbalistic Secrets of Jesus. Did he know the hidden power of the 72 names? In this episode, we dive into the deep connections between Jesus' teachings and the wisdom of Kabbalah, revealing ancient mysteries that can further expand your spirituality. Click now to watch and continue exploring these mysteries with us. See you there.